Hello guys, thank you again for tuning into my channel. My name is Anthony and I welcome each one of you who has taken their time today to watch our program. I pray and I hope that you will learn something and that today's episode will be of benefit to you. So, as I usually say, it's a pleasure for me to record these episodes for you, and it's my prayer that out of it instills something in you and it opens up your mind to view life differently. As we know, we usually speak about Kenya and the Kenya that we want to see for our future and for our children. So the channel aims at just revealing the ails that are there in the society and giving us the vision, giving us the drive to have an active role in shaping the future that we want to see for the generations that will come after us. So having that in mind, I think it's very important for us as a people to define the leaders that we want for ourselves. And so with this backdrop or this backstory in mind, I thought it wise to first of all come and define who a leader is. We might be speaking about leadership and all these good things which seem okay and fancy, but at the end of the day, when it comes down to the core of it, do we understand who a leader is and what are those things that we should be looking for in a leader? And so I thought it wise today to just come and speak about leadership. And in this specific episode, I wanted to define who a leader is. Because as a country, we are looking for leaders who will bring about change in the way we live our lives and in the way policies will be shaped that manage our country better. Okay? And so today's episode would be just solely dedicated to defining who a leader is, so that even as we try to reshape the leadership lenses of this country, we have an accurate understanding of what we are looking for as a people. And therefore, I'll do a 10-part series or thereabouts, where I'll just be now breaking down who a leader is, what qualities should we look for in the ideal leaders that will lead this country to a better position. So let's just go straight to the topic of today. And who is a leader? So every one of us has an idea of who a leader is and who a leader should be. Okay, depending on the backgrounds where we come from, depending on our schooling, depending on the different types of education that we receive as people, because you can only define things according to the knowledge that you have as a person, and the environment that you grow up in kind of shapes the reality that you perceive as truth. And for most of us, we have not yet experienced an ideal situation that will define who a leader is in a more wholesome way. We have experienced people with certain leadership traits in one area or another. So we have an idea of who a leader is, but we do not have the fullness of the understanding of who a leader is. And therefore, it is very important for us to kind of grasp the whole concept of who wholesome leader is, so that when it comes to you now as a person identifying leaders within your immediate spaces or the places that you require leaders, you make better informed decisions. Okay, because it is for the benefit of all of us that we identify leaders of substance and we put these leaders in places of authority, because a good leader works for the benefit of all of us. Okay, and as I keep on mentioning, I am a Christian, and such as is any other Christian, my foundational grounding is the Word of God or the Bible. So that's where I source most of my principles of life that I have decided to align with or adhere to. And that's also where I find my definition of leaders, because I believe the Bible is a template that God used, okay, as a guideline for mankind to see what God considers ideal when it comes to leaders, okay, in the capacity of men. And therefore, just judging from what the Bible defines or who the Bible uses as the examples of leaders that were, certain traits come out clearly across all cadres of leaders that have been presented forth by the Bible. And today I just like to summarize a few of them and then like wrap it all into one thing and come up with like a general definition of who a leader is in any setting. Okay, so what was common among all those characters is that, first of all, a leader needs to have a burden. Okay, a leader comes into place because there is a burden that you carry for a people. Every leader that emerges forth comes not to rule but to serve. The Bible defines leadership as service. So there is what we call servant leadership. A leader's main work or role is service to the society. So your ability to serve others means that you have a solution within you that caters to the needs of those that you're presenting yourself for to serve. And therefore, as a leader, you're driven by service. Service means you have a solution. The solution means there is a problem. The problem means you have observed society and there is a burden that is stirred up in your heart consciously for a period of time that you cannot contain any longer. So this is a burden that has been placed within you as a person, and as time goes, this burden keeps on growing and it becomes something that you can no longer just soothe. You need to do something about it, and therefore God gives you the ability or the eyes. He gives you the vision to see a solution to the problem that ails society. So every leader that comes forth needs to have a burden. A burden simply means there is a problem that you have identified in society and you have the potential and ability to provide a solution to it. So leadership is not about being a boss and bossing over other people. Leadership is about you coming forth as a possible solution giver to a certain problem that ails society. So the first trait of a leader is the burden. So you need to have a burden. Then the second trait of a leader that I have observed across through the characters that are mentioned in my Bible is that all of them portray love. Okay? So they portray love. And love basically means to the people that you are sensitive about their burden. Like for you to be moved by the burden of a particular people, it means you have seen them go through challenges and those challenges have moved you to a point that you need to do something about it. So you are driven by love for the people, that you want to alleviate them from suffering. You want to help them overcome the challenges that they are facing. So because you have love for these people, whatever moves you is greater than just surface level things. Okay, it is the love for a particular people that drives you to do something about the challenges that they face. So the first thing is that there is a burden that you carry for people. Then second thing, there is love that you feel for those people that you share or you carry their burden. Then number three, a leader is someone who is selfless. I see a lot of people and I see a lot of lessons and classes about leadership, which is good. It is good. It is good to go for classes that will teach you about leadership. Each one of us needs to have an understanding of leadership in the different capacities that we have as people. But one thing that you come to understand with time is that a true leader is born. Yes? So you might go to class to polish your ability and your gift, but a true leader is born, not created. You were born a leader. Why do I say this? Being a leader is one of the most unrewarding things that you can ever do, because most of the times the people that you are advocating for do not see the need for them to come out of what they are in that they have suffered that thing for a very long time until it has become part of their lives. So you, as a leader who has a burden for them, you are able to see what they are struggling with because God has given you the lens to see the problem. But them that are stuck in that thing, they are not able to see it because they are submerged in that problem. So for most of the time, you'll find yourself giving more of yourself to that quest, to that calling, and you need to be comfortable with not being recognized, with not being applauded, with not being thanked. Okay, so there is an element of selflessness that you need to have as a person, and you now come to understand that a trait or an attribute of selflessness is not something teachable. You're not taught how to be selfless. This is a thing that you're born with. So the calling or the burden that God has given you to have concerning a particular thing in society, because it is a burden that is indwelt or inborn within you, then you easily become oriented towards that thing, and therefore you are not pushed or forced to look for a solution for it. It comes naturally to you because this is the thing that drives you in life. And therefore, the act of selflessness will at times require you to go over and beyond what you need to do to make sure that you find a solution to a problem. And therefore, one trait of a leader called to a specific purpose is the selflessness, meaning that at certain points you might be required to overlook your own comfort and your own pleasures so that you are able to do things for the greater public or for the bigger cause. So this thing cannot be learned. You're born with it. That's why you don't understand, or when you look at certain people in society, you don't understand why this person goes through all this trouble. They're beaten, they're maimed, they're hurt, they're injured, but they still pursue a certain cause. It is because they were born attached to that burden. So being selfless comes with it as part of the territorial requirements for that calling. So you can go to school, they can train you on leadership skills, but a true leader, you're born with the innate capacity to carry burdens And therefore, when you identify what your burden is in society, you start aligning your life in that trajectory. And then this will give you an understanding of what you are created to do, what your strengths are, and what kind of solutions are you able to provide as a leader. So the more you sharpen focus within this particular thing, then it defines what your strengths are, and you get to unlock much greater ability and capacity within you as a person. And therefore, the last element that defines a leader, I've talked about selflessness. If I can recap, I've talked about love for the people that you're doing it for. I've talked about having a burden, okay? And therefore, the last element that I think every born leader should have is a vision, okay? The reason why you're able to see the burden, the reason why you feel so strongly towards a certain cause, a certain thing, maybe it's poverty, maybe it's gender-based violence, maybe it's poor governance. So you're called to be a leader because in your innate capacity as a person, God has given you the ability to forge a solution. And the solution when it comes to leadership is not a one-time event. This is a gradual progression of actions that you take as a person that will eventually chart a roadmap out of that problem into a solution. And this simply means any leader who goes out to present themselves as a solution, you need to have a vision. That vision is embedded in your DNA. That vision is embedded in your being. It is part of you. You cannot go out to solve a problem without having the vision that carries the solution. And therefore, when we are looking for leaders in society, we need to critically interrogate these 4 attributes or aspects of any person who claims to be a leader. They need to be selfless, they need to have a vision, they need to have a burden that's specific, and they need to love the people. So as you are looking for the leaders who are going to move our country forward, the leaders who are going to shape the things that we are agitating for, kindly let us look at these 4 elements, and not just by words. Look at a person's action, look at their deeds. What have they done? What have they stood for? To what lengths have they gone to vouch for this thing, to fight for this cause? So these are the kind of interrogations that we need to have as a people that will make us choose worthy leaders of substance when it comes to the future leaders that we want for our generations that are coming forth and even for our future. So I think that's all that I had to share for today when it comes to leadership. That's who I define as a leader personally. And I think it forms a worthy basis to have a look at. You can interrogate it. Probably you can add a few pointers if you have more. And just create an ideal template of the people that you're going to look for when you're looking for good leadership. Okay, so in our subsequent videos, I think I'll do just a series now to expound on the different character, the different traits that leaders should have. Okay, this was just the definition of a leader. Now we're going to start looking at the different traits that leaders should have, because I believe it is important for us to realign or define the leaders that we need in this country. we can talk about good leaders. We can assume that everyone understands who a good leader is, but I've interrogated myself and I've asked myself, we talk about good leadership, yes. How many of us have actually had good leadership? How many of us have actually had the privilege of being mentored by a good leader? How many of us have actually worked under a good leader? How many of us have been led by a good leader? So it can be that we are defining concepts that most of us have not experienced. Most of us do not even have the experiential knowledge to define who a good leader is. So we have an abstract idea of what a good leader should look like, but not many of us have actually had the experience of sitting under good leaders. I'm not saying that I have the template, no, but I've actually experienced some good leaders that I've worked with in my workplace, that I've worked under in the church spaces where I've been, and in very many social spaces where I have been submitted under. And therefore, I am just going to draw from the experiences that I've had to kind of share what I have gained, what I've understood from the type of leaders that I have had to learn from. And I hope it helps you in one way or another. So that's it for me. That's it for my episode today. I do hope that this has been informative to you as a person, and I pray that it shapes your mind when it comes to the kind of leaders that you want to choose for yourself, for your future generations, and in every place that you are in. I hope it rewires your understanding of what a good leader should look like. Okay, so with that, I think I will end it at that juncture. I thank all of you who have stayed and tuned in until the end. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And it's my hope that I will see you for my next episode. Okay, so guys, cheers and God bless you. See you for my next episode. Ciao.